This is a guy who's about 44 years old. He's originally from Haiti, and he's been up in Boston for about 16 years. He works as a taxi driver in the city. And I first met him about 3 years ago in clinic, and he came in. He had just transferred his care into our clinic he had a previous diagnosis of diabetes. And for the most part, he had done a fairly good job of keeping the diabetes under control with diet, some exercise. He was on one just oral medication that you take for diabetes. And I followed him for about 1.5 years. We were doing okay. And then his diabetes started to not be under quite as good of control. And we started to talk a little bit about whether he may need to start insulin. And I remember this encounter with him because it really taught me, or reinforced again, the importance of listening, because as I introduced the idea of insulin to him, he said, "Oh yeah, that sounds okay." But I noticed a little bit of hesitancy in how he presented that to me, or how he responded to my suggestion of insulin. And I said, "What are your thoughts about insulin? How do you feel about it?" He paused for a second, and I wanted to jump back in, but knowing that there were all these other people waiting outside, but I let the silence hang for a few moments, and then he started to share with me. He's like, in Haiti, all of us think about insulin in a very negative way. He said, I have this belief that it's going to take away my male fertility. And he went on and kind of spoke about that and how he would hope to have kids and that kind of thing. And he, in his mind, imagined that doing this insulin was going to prevent all of that from happening. And after he had spoken for about 5 minutes, that gave me the chance to respond to that and actually say, thank you for sharing that. It actually is the opposite way, in that if we don't get your diabetes under control, you actually may have more of a threat to sort of your well-being and being able to have a family and those kinds of things. And it allowed us to where we had sort of mismatched perceptions of what insulin meant for someone, for us to kind of bring those a little bit more under control. And he since has done great with his insulin and with controlling his diabetes.